What happens to your heart when you begin to extend compassion? It softens. Instead of it's that person, it's the person you identify with. Maybe you said something that that person's father used to say before he beat her. And you just said an innocent sentence. But when you said it, it brought all those emotions back. It's like somebody who hit you on the arm and you didn't know there was an infected part of the arm, and the person overreacts at you and you're thinking, what on earth did I say, for Pete's sakes? Now, you don't know what happened. Can you become a compassionate person to the person who hurt you? Good. Point number 3 is a surprising one. Look at the verse. Matthew 18:27 says, then the master of that servant was moved with compassion. Wait. Look up here. First part. He was moved with compassion. Don't skip that step. You open your heart, then you consciously think of that person and you give them compassion. I give it to you. You don't deserve it. I give it. It's a gift. After you give compassion, then you, what does it say? Release him. You release the person and forgave him the debt. Therefore, required number 3 is release the person from your heart prison. From your heart prison. Where is this person needing to be released from? That person right there isn't in jail. Oh, yeah, they are. Where is the jail? Inside of you. Behind what? Bars. Yeah. And you threw away the key. You may have even said, I will never forgive that person to the day I die. You took the key and you threw it out the window. You'll never get free out of this prison. Over my dead body. That's right. You know what this passage is teaching us is something that's very, very important that hardly anybody recognizes. There's 2 halves to this, not one. I have to release the person out of my heart prison first. Open the door. Whoa, let them out. And then I have to forgive them. We think that's the same. It's not. So what is Jesus revealing is this secret that we're dealing about right here. He is revealing that you have a person, and then you have the thing that he did or she did that wounded you. It's not this. Okay. It's this. You may be an awfully nice person here, and this could have been very much out of character of what you did. But if you make this the same, then you make the person bad. The person isn't bad. Well, they may be a little bit, but they're not bad. It's what they did to you that wounded you. Then why'd you throw them away? Why did you put them in the prison rather than this thing here? It's something you did. That's not you. It's what you did. It's not you. It's what you did to me. Oh. Some of you have so many people in prison that you've built a second and a third prison inside of your heart. And you have a whole bunch of guards on the outside protecting. This is my prison. How many put some people in prison? Yeah, come on. So, point number 3.1, the person must be separated from the trespass they committed. 3.2, the person is locked in your heart prison until you release them. Here's the part that's very helpful here. You can forgive a person for what they did and keep them locked in prison.
Okay. All right.
This is a person. This is not the person. This is an action that the person did. When you make it like this, you don't separate the two, and you make this person become the wound. Rather than, no, this is normally a wonderful person, or the person loves me, or whatever, but they did this. Isn't it interesting that Jesus doesn't say, forgive the trespass first, and then release the person? Okay. Jesus makes us deal with the person first. So you have compassion not on what they did to you, you have compassion on the person. This is a person. Yes. And now I have to open up this door and let this person out. I took a look at that word release. When Jesus said release the person from your inner prison, I went and I studied that word release to know what exactly it means. You remember when Barabbas was there and they were deciding to let Barabbas free or Jesus free? And they said, set free Barabbas. That's the same word. Let him out of prison. And when the disciples and the apostles were in prison and the angel came down and set them free, it's the same Greek word. This is really true. You have to release the person and let them out. Whoa, you release him. So what happens to a person who doesn't release the person? And every time you see the person, they're still inside the prison. And you're afraid of them, and you have heart walls here, and you don't like them because you've kept them in prison. When children release their parents, when adult children let their parents that hurt them various ways growing up out of their heart prison, the entire relationship with their parents changes. And the adult parent, like you and me, will oftentimes weep over this because they've kept their parents way out here, built a big wall, won't let them get close. This happens. There's no doubt that they wounded you. We're not arguing that. But I want you to think about that keychain right here. Take out the keychain. Look inside that. Unlock it. We're going to help you do that after break. You're going to let people out. You cannot imagine the weight you carry with all those people inside of you. And the people on the outside who love you anyway, they still love you and they can't get close to you no matter what they try. And they go away so disappointed and discouraged, and they say to their spouse or their friend or your mother or your father, you know, no matter what I do to my child, they don't let me in. You know why they don't let them in? They have locked them inside. You have some people you need to release? Good. Good. All right, next go down to number 4. Look at the passage beneath it. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion. That's the first thing you do. You open your heart, you move with compassion, then you release the person, and then you forgive the debt. And it's much easier then. Then the master, after he called him, said to him, you wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me, so my heavenly Father will also do to you if each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses. Notice that it is trespasses, plural. Most people who hurt us more than once. And I've got to forgive you for every single one of them. Now this is an important point. Why is that? When you come over and you think that the person that you need to forgive is like this, now watch this carefully. This session is how do you have lasting forgiveness? It's not uncommon for me to hear people say, I've forgiven him 20 times. You know why they did to do that? They didn't follow the 5 requirements. So if a person says, let's say it's a wife about her husband, I've forgiven my husband, and this is the way they do it. Rather than, I don't know, I'm letting my husband out of the jail. I'm letting him back in. And I forgive him for this specifically. I forgive him for that. I forgive him when he was abusive to me. I forgive when I needed him and he wouldn't be there for me. Each one of these wounds are separate things in your heart. And the Bible's very clear that each of you must forgive that person all of his trespasses. Which means what? You have to do what I got that ship doctor to do years ago. Write down all the wounds. Until you get a hold of the wounds, you can't forgive the person in mass. I forgive you for all the things you've ever did to me. Guess what? That won't work. Well, look at me. That won't work. You already know that. You've tried that. It didn't work. Which means you're going to have to open up your heart and stick your head in it and say, oh boy, let's dig up these hurtful things and figure out where they are and what they are. And then when you forgive all these, then your heart heals. Because here's what happens when we have all these little wounds or big wounds, and we say, I'll forgive this one right here, and that's all I can deal with. Guess what? The torture continues. Nothing changed. Wait, nothing changed. You got to forgive all, one at a time. Okay. On the next page, I just wrote down some summary sentences to help a lot of questions to be answered quickly. Number 1, 4.1. Forgive everyone who may have hurt you purposefully or accidentally. A wound in your heart doesn't know the difference if it's accidental or purposeful. Accidentally. Point number 4.2. Forgive everyone. Underline the next 3 words. For every single one of their trespasses. Every single one. .3. Forgive individuals and groups who have caused the wound. Can a government wound a person? Yeah, but that's a group who hurts you. 4.4. I get this question a lot. But the person who wounded me is already dead. But what isn't dead? Is a wound. That's the wound is still inside of you. The wound isn't in them or them, it's in you. 4.4. Forgive individuals who are living or dead as the heart wound remains in you. Remains in you. 4.5. I remember talking to a lady who was older, in her 60s, and she said, I can't ever get happy. I said, why not? I don't know. I said to her, do you ever feel tortured? Yes. What's that? The verifier. She's got unforgiveness. So, who hurt you the most? What? Who hurt you the most? Why? Who hurt you the most? My grandfather. Your grandfather. What did he do? He came into my bedroom night after night for years and raped me. But he's dead. He's been dead for 20 years almost. How can I forgive somebody who's dead? Because the wound of what he did to you for all those years is in you, and that's why you have not forgiven him, and the torture of your life of no happiness, no joy, no emotions is present. She forgave her grandfather, and you just watched a woman transform in front of your face. This is not an exaggeration. Number 4.5, forgive individuals whether or not they ever apologize. Most people will never apologize. And don't ever say, when they apologize to me, then I'll forgive you. Nope. 4.6. Forgive individuals whether or not they change their behavior. I'll forgive you and you promise me never to. There's no conditions on forgiveness. Why not? Because you're going to be tortured no matter if there's conditions or not. 4.7, star this one. Forgive individuals whether or not they make restitution, whether or not they make it right with you. If they stole, they don't have to give it back for you to forgive. Whether they fired you unfairly, forgive them anyway. 4.8, forgiveness doesn't mean you accept or condone their actions. That's an important one. You're not agreeing with what they did. Is forgiveness ever deserved? No. Wait. No? No. They wounded you, especially if it was purposeful. They didn't deserve to be forgiven. But if you don't forgive them, you will have torment. Yeah. It's not about they deserving it. It's, I don't want that. Therefore, I will forgive you. Come on, you getting that? Yeah. This is all about you. It's not about them. Okay. 4.9. Forgiving doesn't mean you don't maintain healthy boundaries. Okay. If there's somebody who's abusive to you, forgive them, but set up boundaries so they can't abuse you so much. Yeah. 4.10 is a surprising one. I'd circle this one. Forgiving doesn't always mean your relationship is restored. I have people that I have forgiven that I will never have a relationship with again. They're not in my prison, but they are untrustworthy and they are abusive. And I will not have a relationship with them. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. I don't have unforgiveness with them. They're not inside of my heart prison. But our relationship is ended. Jesus does not require us to have the same relationship with all people. He says, if possible for you, live at peace with all men. And at times, it's not possible. Don't misunderstand. You can forgive somebody, and the relationship may never, ever be the same. Okay. And the last requirement is kind of the apex, the height of it all. I jumped out of that one passage in Matthew 18 and went back to Matthew chapter 5, and I want you to see how unforgiveness deals with this passage. Christ says, but I say to you, love the very people who hurt you. Yeah. What? Yeah, love your enemies. Oh, come on. Bless those who curse you. Yeah, bless the people who hurt you. Do good to those who hate you. Those are the people who hurt you. And pray for those who spitefully use you. Oh, man, and persecute you. Why? That you may be sons of your Father in heaven. What's he like for people who are angry and hate him? For he makes the sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. How does this all work, friends? If I have unforgiveness to you, can I bless you? No way. If I have unforgiveness to you, can I love you? Mm-mm. If I have unforgiveness to you, can I do good for you? Mm-mm. And if I have unforgiveness to you, will I pray for you? No, I may say at a prayer meeting, I would like for us to pray for John here, because John has big problems in his life, and we need to pray for him. And he is a nasty man, and we need to pray hard for him. And he's hurt me so many times. Let's pray for him a lot. Do you realize that none of these things are possible if you have unforgiveness? Whoa. That's why there's so little of this in the marketplace. Wait, so little of this. So little loving your enemies. Doing good to those who hate you. Why? Walls go up. Unforgiveness moves in. I don't like you. I don't want to be near you. I hope you suffer because what you did to me. Me doing good for you? Are you kidding? That's how it works. So I have beneath here these 5 statements Christ said. Love, which is in the Greek text present, active, imperative. And imperative means the command. And it's present, which means this. At all times, actively be in the process of loving somebody who is intent on being your enemy. Which means, how often do I have to forgive you? Oh, yeah, the whole time. Bless, that's present, means all the time. Active means I do it. Imperative, which means I'm commanded to do this. those who curse you. That's present participle, which means they're in the process right now of cursing you. Oh, man, I have to bless you all the time while you're in the process of cursing me. Yes, which means what's happening to my heart? I'm keeping my heart prison locked so you can't get into it, and I continue to forgive you, and while I forgive you, I am free to love you. Yeah. Do good. Present means now. Active means I'm doing this. Imperative, I'm going to obey Christ. Those who hate you right now. Whew. Pray for those who spitefully use you. Pray for those who persecute you. What are you reading? What are you hearing about all this? What's this saying to you? That forgiveness is the big key. You can never obey these things if you have unforgiveness. Let's read Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32 at the end. Here we go. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. Well, years went by. And Darlene and I went out to Colorado to teach at a university for a week to about 500 university students and graduate students, people up into their 30s, in fact. We had a terrific week together, and nothing like a bunch of university and graduate students. And at the end of the week on Friday afternoon, there was a whole bunch of celebration in the room. And that people had brought balloons and had a cake they rolled in, and I'm wondering what's going on. And they said, we have a wonderful announcement. Two of our best friends in the room have an announcement of an engagement. So this beautiful couple comes up and they introduce themselves to everyone. Most people knew them already, and they sang to them, and there's a lot of affection in the room for this couple. And I'm celebrating with them and packing up my stuff to head home. And the couple comes right up here, and she was on this side and he was on this side, and they were standing right here, just terribly in love. It's wonderful. And she was gorgeous, radiant. And she said, I'm getting married. I said, I think it's so wonderful. And then she looked at me and she says, you don't remember me. Sorry, I meet so many people, I really don't. I'm a virgin. Wonderful. No, I'm the virgin who was raped by 4 men. And I've been a virgin that day till now, and this is the man of my dreams. You see, when you forgive the most horrible things, God blesses you abundantly. No matter what's happened in the past, there can be a wonderful ending. Will you open your heart? Will you extend compassion? Will you release the person? Will you forgive them their debt? And will you love them anyway?